tonight for an extreme start time for this one. We'll kick it off here in a minute. I want to make sure we get everybody in. Thank you guys for being here, and we'll get it moving. All right, guys are already throwing questions in the chat, so we're good.
Nice.
Lauren, are you using a different skin product?
I am. You know what? I shaved my head and I got a reduction. I'm sorry to disappoint. Shit, this is not going to make the live recording. I'm telling you that right now. All right, here we go. Hello, this is Paul Bromwell welcoming you to another Top Guy experience on ad-free shows. I am extremely excited, you see what I did there, tonight to welcome three guys that are no strangers to this community. They are the hardcore hosts of That Was Extreme. Please welcome Blue Meanie, Joe Gertner, and Josh Shernoff. Josh, are you and the guys ready for another post-show breakdown? Because it's all things RVD tonight.
Oh man, I'm excited for this. This is one of the highlights of the month for me, for sure, is being able to get together this community and attempt to answer questions as though I know what the hell I'm talking about. But yeah, just happy to be in the presence of your greatness, Paul. You're just, man, getting busier and busier.
Yeah, no, every time I turn around, we're talking about what's going on next. But hey, it's a lot of fun. But this is about you guys. I sat and watched you for about 2.5 hours today. So
awesome. Was that the show, or was that because I felt like I saw somebody at my window?
That was me creeping around outside your window. I got close to Meanie's house, realized there was some kind of a shot he got or something, and then I ran. But
got my Rona shot.
Yeah, right. But hey, listen, before we get it going, there's guys already in the chat have questions. And I want to ask each of you, Josh, I'm going to start with you. As you did your research, because listen, I heard you driving that ship, a lot of Meltzer throughout that episode, a lot of history of RVD. Was there one thing about Rob Van Dam that you learned or were surprised about while you were working on the show?
Well, one thing I do want to give a shout out to Josh Odom.
Who's he?
He definitely helped out a little bit with doing some research for us, which was great. That definitely took a little bit off of my plate on a very busy month. But yeah, doing my own research through it and reading everything he had come up with. I would say the only thing that I found new, because I've been a huge Rob Van Dam fan, so I've read everything I can about him. I've watched the DVDs about him, you know, and followed him for the majority of his career. The only thing that really was a surprise to me was how much Dave Meltzer apparently did not care for him, at least in the way that I read it. I found that to be kind of surprising, especially because if you look at everybody that Meltzer is in love with today, Rob Van Dam, he would be the guy, if you said, like, who paved the way for the Young Bucks? Like, Van Dam would be on the short list for sure. And so I found it really surprising. And there was one point, I don't remember where it was exactly, but I remember reading, it was almost as if Meltzer was everything he was attacking, everything he was saying that he couldn't stand was almost verbatim the way that he would describe a 7-star match today. So, and listen, it's okay for people's opinions to change on what they like and, you know, in wrestling, and things obviously evolve over time, but I just found it really surprising in that regard. But otherwise with Rob Van Dam, the only other one would be Matt Byrne. Did not know that was a name he ever used, and I loved it.
That was a popular jobber name back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny? I thought is and I'm going to go there. Maybe the only reason it never worked out with the star rating is because it didn't happen in the Tokyo Dome. I mean, I know. I'm sorry, but listen, Meanie, anything you learned as you did the episode?
Oh, I learned a lot just because I never read the sheets while I was in ECW. And for better, probably, because if I would have lived my career by the sheets, you know, I probably would have drove myself nuts.
Yeah,
you know, I'm sure I wasn't Dave's favorite wrestler, even though he's been very kind to me in person and all that stuff. I really don't want to know what he has to say about me. So a lot of the stuff, like, I felt bad, like halfway during the episode when Josh is reading all stuff, I was like, man, are we celebrating, Rob, or are we just reading roast? It was just like, holy shit. But I didn't really learn that much. I mean, it's not that I didn't learn. It's just most of the stuff we talked about is stuff I already knew pretty much. So, and I was very fortunate to get to know Rob pre-ECW. So, maybe the Matt Burns thing I didn't know, but yeah, for 95% of the stuff I knew, but it was fun.
I'll tell you one other thing. I didn't realize, I was confused at the end of it. If Meltzer, I'm not sure which one he disliked more. Was it Rob Van Dam's in-ring style, or was it punctuation? Because reading Dave Meltzer's work, my God, like I'm not like, I've always considered a comma to be a suggestion. Like I don't really know exactly where these things are supposed to go, but I mean, like spelling and spaces between words and things like that. Like he's just really, you know, oh, God bless you. But I just, you know,
he wasn't no English teacher is what you're saying.
No, he ain't no good at that. So yeah, it was,
writing was not his thing in school.
No.
Which is something to know that you're going to do that as a full-time position. You know what I mean? You spell something wrong in a tweet and you get lit up, you know, big time nowadays. So
yeah,
unreal. Joel, what about you? Anything fun? I mean, we learned about, you know, the tag team titles exchanged hand on a singles match in this episode. Anything else that you learned that kind of stood out to you on this episode?
I'd forgotten that, so I relearned that. As far as learning, no, man. I don't think I did learn anything, and that's fine. You know, I'm a 45-year-old man, and you know, I've always understood that the less you know, the longer you live. So, no, just you know.
Hey, like you said though, big rings. You know what they mean, right? You work for a big company, so we did learn that in this episode.
Yes. Yes, bosses, bigger bosses with larger fingers.
There you go.
Writing larger checks.
All right. Well, listen, let's jump into the guys' questions. But I do want to thank you for making me hit the pause button. As you were talking through his career, Josh, you mentioned a particular night in ECW history where Kimona Wanalea came out on stage. And I had to pause the episode for about 15 minutes so that I could go to YouTube and remind myself of exactly what occurred that
was that the night?
If I remember correctly, no, go ahead. I don't want to. Yeah.
No. I'm just.
Not that we're all thinking it, but
no. Was this the one that the night that Kimona Wanalea danced atop the ECW arena? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure exactly which one you were referencing, but I do vaguely remember that. Joel, you've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
this wasn't the one where, like, you know, Kimona, you know, finds the cure for the plague, or Kimona cooks, you know, a tremendous chicken dish, but there's a lot of confusion when the neighbors next door, you know, this wasn't that one. This was the one where Kimona, this happened to be, out of all of the ones, this happened to be the one where Kimona danced atop the ECW arena.
Yes. And by the way, I did some research, Josh. You'd be proud of this. The first song she danced to was by the group Love Hate, and it was called Spinning Wheel. So for those of you that are curious as to what that song is, check that one out. The lyrics matched her dance to a T, and then it transitioned into Man in the Box from Alice in Chains. So again, a little bit of research on my end.
So if you're ever on the ECW trivia game show, which I'm sure Conrad will be spitting out by September.
WrestleGamia. That's right. Anyway, good stuff, guys.
Colin Dawkins getting that.
I know, getting that trademarked. All right, let's get to the questions. This was a fun episode for me. Everything from Paul Orndorff to, you know, all this, so many good things. So I'm hoping we get into it here. We're going to start with Anthony Pyers. Anthony, you're on with the guys.
Where are we at?
Gentlemen, how are you all doing this evening?
God, where are you?
You asked for
I'm outside by the fire pit. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well.
I will neither confirm nor deny that the VHS tape that Kimona Wanalea danced atop the ECW arena was Extreme Warfare Volume 2. No, of course I didn't buy it from the 800 number. Anyway, guys, it's great to talk to you guys again. But
would it surprise you to know that Volume 1 and Volume 3 outsold Volume 2?
It would shock me.
Is that true, Joel?
Shock me.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, is anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever outsell that.
This is going to be off the rails tonight. We're going to have fun. Go ahead, Anthony.
But I'm gonna stick to the topic at hand. Joel, this one's kind of more for you. It seemed like during especially 1998, when the Dudleys were flying high, RVD and Sabu were flying high. Yes, there was the occasional title switch. Yes, there was the occasional match here and there. But it seems like the Dudleys versus Rob Van Dam and Sabu could have printed money. Granted, whatever counts for money in ECW at that point, it seems like you guys could have almost built an entire pay-per-view around an ECW World Tag Team title match. Was there ever any discussion? Was there ever any reason that didn't happen?
It printed its fair share of money. Maybe not the kind of money that Blackjack Mulligan printed, which is a joke that I can make now that the Herb Abrams episode of Dark Side of the Ring is aired. But it printed. I don't know, man. Your question is why the Dudleys and RVD and Sabu?
Why it wasn't a real big time program for ECW? Yes, they did a few matches here and there, but as a guy that went to a bunch of ECW shows, I never waited until the lineup was announced. It was always, hey, they're coming to the IEBW Hall in Waltham or Wonderland Park in Revere. Didn't matter to me what the lineup was. I was buying my tickets right away from Frank's Cigar Shop. That was back when you had to call the cigar store and get them.
I know that the match could have been in an alternate universe included on Extreme Warfare Volume 2, but it was Bubba who didn't take one for the team, and he refused to dance naked atop the ECW arena. So because of that, in light of that, in lieu of that,
Louis D.
I think Louis D. I think some people thought that RVD and Sabu versus the Dudleys was a good program, but no, I get what you're saying.
Count me as one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean, I don't know. Maybe because it was, some people thought that the Dudleys did better against. You know what? I don't like to say that anybody, because we tried to, we talk about this even in this episode, because we tried to present a little bit of everything and even have guys go out there and work a style that you might not expect. I don't want to say that there was kind of a clash of styles between the two teams, because the Dudleys would always try to do the stuff that RVD, Bubba would try to brawl with Sabu. Devon would try to get in and do stuff with RVD that was more RVD's speed. But, you just, I don't know. You have to be careful that you don't violate the psychology of it all either. So, sure. I don't know. Interesting point, though.
Guys, much love and respect to you all. Love the podcast. I think you guys are getting better and better as the months go by. And Paulie B, you know what's coming. Go Pats!
I did. I mean, that's why I call on him first, just to kind of get it out of the way. Oh, yes, I love it.
Meanie, are you okay?
Hey, since I got my second Corona shot, my farts are very medicinal. It's just if you took a bowl of blood and put it in the microwave, it's just.
All right. Well,
and that's the kind of stuff that they did in one match on Extreme Warfare Volume 3, which is why it did not outsell Extreme Warfare Volume 2.
I'm still waiting for a History of the World Part 2. So I mean,
yeah.
Tim, I don't know. Tim McGoldrick, I don't know how I transition this at all.
To him? I don't know how I can follow
or
that.
Naked Gun 444 and a fourth.
Naked Gun Pie.
What's that?
Yeah.
I don't know how I can follow that, but I was actually going to piggyback on the Meltzer question, just because you're talking about his review of Rob Van Dam and how he wasn't a fan. And Josh, I thought you made a really great point. And Meanie, you sort of answered this already, but
I'm sorry.
I was just curious. No, it's fine. I was actually just curious because it's shocking to me how many wrestlers currently, and maybe it's just because the state of social media, kind of respond to what he puts out there, because I don't think his reach is as big as people think it is. And I was just curious, back in the ECW days, did Van Dam even care what Meltzer said? Did a lot of the guys care what he said?
I never really remember anybody in the locker room talking about him. I remember him. He was at November to Remember 96. That was about it. That's all I really know about Meltzer and ECW, but I never really heard the boys talk about him or say, "Oh, did you read this?" And it's funny. I always say I thought I knew a lot about the wrestling business until I got in the business. And I read Dave Meltzer's newsletters until I got into the business. And then I realized how the business really was, kind of. And that's not a slight at Dave. He's a historian. He could probably tell you about everything that's happened in the past. But if you gave him an opportunity to book something for the future, let him book a show. Let's see how that does.
Unfortunately, I mean, he's a great historian.
He's a great historian.
Except for when he creates his own history because he adds his own narrative into it. But hey, listen, it's his sheet. You know, he has I know I come down on him a lot because, you know, he's the worst, but he definitely is entitled to his opinion. I will say though, I'm no, you know, fire marshal, but I am worried sick about the safety of the that man's office.
It does.
First of all, and I've mentioned this on my show, So Says Shernoff on Fight, cheap plug, but
not an ad.
Not an ad. Absolutely not an ad.
That's not an ad.
I love it.
But I have mentioned what's going on with that desk. I have never seen somebody who can sit at their chair with their knees on the ground under that desk is so low. And also, who has that much? This is 2021. Who has that much paper? And why is it all over the floor? Can you imagine that you know that Vice is coming to film something for Dark Side of the Ring, and you look around your office and you go, "This looks pretty good. I think we can welcome them in here to film this."
This is how I want to represent myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Dave, I started subscribing to the Observer in mid '89, and I'll be the one of us that stands up for Dave. And as it relates to the desk, at least, I'll have you know that back in the day when he got that desk, he shelled out the bucks for a 4-star desk, thinking that would be the epitome and the top of the line and the state of the art. Unfortunately, little did he know that in 2021 we are in a 7-star world, and he still has this 4-star desk. And I think that's, you know, therein lies the rubbing of the knees against the floor when he's sitting at the desk.
Yeah. You rub those knees against the floor. First of all, stonewashed jeans with the friction on all the paper that's on there, boom, up in flames, that entire thing. I'm worried for him. I'm just worried about his safety, you know.
I'm worried about his nuts. Do you see how close his knees are together when he sits in that chair? How does another man sit with his?
I think Jim Ross would refer to them as that would fit into a thimble.
Let's get an image. Let's get an image from our guy.
It's like
almost like
a watermelon. You know, just Ken Patera squeezing a watermelon. That's my legs
for a T-shirt. If you could imagine like an NFT of the first ever Observer, and we put it on the shirt and it says, "Rub your knees on these." And if it doesn't work out, we can repurpose it and just make it a Davey the Observer Meltzer T-shirt with a UWF logo on it.
Huh, I like that. Yeah, no, I just wanted to mention, although there is a chance, to be fair, they may have also been there to film Hoarders, and that might be what was going on. But yeah, just explain. I'm sorry. I mean, look, I'm in my office right now, and my floor has a bunch of things on it, except my floor just has a bunch of packaged Mind of the Meanie action figures that I'm getting ready to send out to people. So,
and that's,
you know, for me, it's not an ad. It's literally just sitting here.
Not a plug, not at all.
No, I'm not plugging at all. I'm not, you know.
First of all, I'm on Cella Toys' mailing list. They've sent me an email. I think they're interested. Yeah. I think we could make this a 3-pack. But until things are finalized with them, the last thing I would ever do is put over a company that I'm not completely in bed with, regardless of if it was or wasn't Cella Toys and whether or not they produce your action figures, you and Meanie. And people can buy those of their own choice and volition. It's not because I suggest that they should, and that they're going to be collectible, and that, if they ever see you guys out, you could sign them, and that they're a bargain at twice the price. And it doesn't matter what who cares anyway.
I probably shouldn't say here I bought a That Was Extreme shirt today over a pro wrestling tees. Probably shouldn't.
Thank you very much. ProWrestlingTees.com/That Was Extreme.
Yeah, it's actually on right behind me here. So there you go.
That is awesome. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that.
Thank you, Zaddy.
And while Joel is not in bed with Cella Toys, he's definitely rooting through the nightstand. So just
you know what Cella Toys should do? Since we gave them on our hit podcast Mind of the Meanie, we gave them the idea that they should make a Bill Apter figure. Mm-hmm. But you know what else they should do to go along with our figures? I would love a Kimono Wanalea figure.
Yes.
That could dance atop my office.
And the accessory would be the blanket that she used towards the middle.
And then because I don't think Scotty Riggs has ever had a figure either. Oh. So you could at least have one molded completely after his own hand.
Just his arm, right. Just
with a little dollar bill.
Josh, why stop at dancing over your office? Like Barbie's Playhouse? Why not just have Dave Meltzer's office complete with low desk to the ground, where you could have her dancing over a stack of observers?
If you've seen Meltzer's office, though, he already has his real estate is taken up top. He has what I can only imagine are mounted luchador heads. But they're all.
You think those would interest him more than Kimono Wanalea dancing?
Man, I'm not going to even begin to suggest what interests Dave Meltzer.
He'd probably be distracted looking at his phone, responding to Twitter trolls.
Yeah. Talking about how the match that he's not watching is terrible while he's tweeting away.
Listen, Josh, I have to ask. If we were able to have Dave Meltzer on a Zoom event for ad-free shows, would you join to ask him a question?
Oh, my God, please.
Okay, deal. If we make it happen, I'm going to make sure you're aware.
I would love that. I would love that. My first question is going to be, why are you the way you are?
Okay, I'll make sure I put you first on the list. Tim, did you have anything else before we move on?
You?
No, thanks. That was everything I wanted and more, guys. So thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Hey, the other thing, guys, with Meltzer, and maybe it's just me. Yeah, I've heard of him and dirt sheets, but I feel like he's become a lot more prominent because of all the podcasts that people use as material.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Before Conrad was using them and putting them over, how many people were so in tune with Dave Meltzer like they are now? So
I think that's fair. And I think also, I mentioned his narrative earlier. Well, everybody has a narrative, whether it's, Bruce Pritchard and Eric Bischoff, who do not agree with Meltzer, or people who do agree with Meltzer. So it's but yeah, no, I never read his dirt sheets. I was an Apter Mags guy back in the day. I was learning all about a bunch of kayfabe crap that wasn't really happening.
Yeah, I think I got back in his good favor after, at one point, I think he was a little bit peeved with me, where, if I remember correctly, because I had bought Colby Carino when he was like 5 years old. I bought him a pair of wrestling tights. And instead of SC, like his dad's logo, it said CC. And instead of it saying King of Old School, it said Prince of Preschool. So I had a picture of the tights because they were actually made and sent to Colby Carino. They existed. So I had the picture. I sent in a report to Dave that there was a match in, I don't remember if it was Tijuana or Acapulco, where Colby Carino took on Tyler Fullington. And they were both like, one of them was like 6 at the time and the other was 10. And I think he may have reported that it happened because it came from me. But I was just kind of trying to, like these days, like you'll just like PayPal request 69 cents from your bud and like, hey man, what's up? Back in the day, there was no PayPal. It was like, hey, let's call Dave Meltzer and tell him that 2 10-year-olds fought each other. So I did, and I think he ran it. And I think it took me about a year to get back in his good graces. I probably wasn't working much that year anyway, so what would he say about me? But
he'd say that you took a really long time to set up the Van Daminator.
Hey, speaking of, and you were talking about Bill Apter, we just saw on WWE Treasures, they went down to his basement and snagged the neck brace,
alley.
right?
Yeah.
Joe Gertner, do you think they'll be coming to your house anytime soon for that neck brace that you used to sport in ECW? You still have that? You still have the
I have a bunch of them. Yeah.
Nice.
I have a bunch. Yeah, I got a bunch of them.
Our own ad-free shows treasure hunt. There we go.
Yeah, we just go to Conrad's house.
Right.
Did you notice Meanie's action figure? And it wasn't from the Mind of the Meanie 2-pack available at mindofthemeanie.com or cellotoys.net if you're outside the US. It was his older figure was hanging signed on Bill Apter's wall in Apter's Alley.
Right above the thermostat, keeping it cool.
I'll have to go back and check that out. That's pretty cool. All right, let me get to the guys here. They have questions. Adam Arpin, you're up next.
Hey, thanks, Paulie. So, Rob Van Dam, amazing athlete, incredible core and leg strength, innovative, imaginative, and I'm going to guess in his mid-20s, he had a lot more balls and swag than he did just concern for his own well-being. So that being said, do you have any memory of moves or spots that he had discussed doing, or just ones that you had ended up seeing where you thought, man, just because you can probably doesn't mean you should? Because I remember a few times where he hit those guardrails where it didn't look like it went as well as you can expect a landing on a guardrail to go. But what do you guys have to say? Thanks.
Well, I got to ask, is Oscar Goldman working on a $6 million man in the background?
That's awesome.
I just heard that noise.
Rude.
It sounded like Oscar Goldman when they're making Steve Austin.
I thought you were going to talk about RVD's balls and how back then he didn't go to manscaped.com and use the promo code That Was Extreme to save 20% plus free shipping.
That's so close to an ad.
No, but not an No. We're all friends here talking.
No, but that was so close to an ad.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
I won't talk about RVD's balls, but I do remember standing at the monitor in Pittsburgh and Brian Lee standing there with a chaw full of dip and goes, man, that Rob's got some cheeks on him. He's talking about Rob's ass because Rob just went like, oh, and his ass just was like, yeah, Rob's got some cheeks on him.
Rob would get that swamp ass though.
Yeah, well,
he would get some swamp ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I the only one who ever noticed? This is what you won't get on the show, guys. This is why we're here tonight. Talk about that swamp ass.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Rob's got some cheeks. Quintessential Stud Muffin is supposed to follow that up by saying it runs in the family. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the question again from Adam Garfin?
Was there ever anything that Rob Van Dam did that you were like, I know you can do it, but should you?
ECW wasn't that kind of party. ECW was a stick your dick in the mashed potatoes and then everybody feasts party. Like ECW, like we didn't tell people what not to do. That's not,
especially at Travelodge, you know.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh,
just the fact that I'm still alive. Just the fact that I used to stay at the Travelodge every 21st day and I'm still here to tell the tale.
Yeah.
Adam, did we answer your question? Not at
Yeah,
all.
I think so.
Did we?
Here, listen. Unmute him.
No, yeah, he go ahead. He's in control.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
You have a sound and that's played. It's I don't know. It's a feedback or something, and it makes it sound like the.
I got to go on YouTube and get the $6 million man.
This fucker really is he's trying to build the $7 million man, isn't he? I mean, this motherfucker.
Well, $6 million man used to be something, but everybody knows that if you go to the Tokyo Dome,
we have people that saying they're never. We have people that are
million.
saying they're never eating mashed potatoes again. So thank you, Joel, for that picture. That they're in the.
You're
chat.
welcome.
At least not at the ECW arena.
Anyway. God forbid, carbs, gluten. You can do better.
Hey, let's talk about Five Napkin. Can we talk about the wings you had there?
Oh, did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, those were tasty, man. I love it. Dude, I'm a Korean barbecue mark. I love to eat Korean. And I'm not going to go into Kimono Wanalea dancing pop, not that, but like, I love the taste of Korean though.
Oh man, this is gold.
Oh.
Okay, Brad, you're up next. Sorry, we're off the rails, man. Everybody's probably gonna ask serious wrestling questions. Go ahead, Brad.
I don't think it's gonna be me. I don't think it's gonna be me.
Good.
You know, so first off, guys, thanks so much for not doing this on Mother's Day, because you did it on Easter Sunday, and if you would have done it on Mother's Day, I probably would be signing my second set of divorce papers.
Oh,
so appreciate that. And by the way, this is not an ad either.
Yeah.
But I did get it on Pro Wrestling Tees.
ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie.
Yeah, something like that. I just want to let you know. I got this 2021, not 1998.
Now, is that just the regular one, or is that the one with the barbed wire around it that they offer there?
No, I got to look.
Colors.
Barbed
wire around there. Yeah, because they offer both the original and the barbed wire one at ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie.
Something like that. And Meanie, if you have to use the bathroom for any reason, I get it. I mean, you've had about 3 or 4 drinks already tonight. You have water. What do you have? 2 Red Bulls over there?
Oh, I got so anytime I'm
Meanie, use the bathroom for us.
This has turned into a happy hour. Where's Rebel? Oh my God.
Ginger ale guy when I'm sick, so it's just.
All right, I guess I'll ask a question. So the whole thing seemed like a lot of it was about Meltzer and about just the way he was insulting everything. So when I watch wrestling, I enjoy it. I take it all in, all the drama, all the athleticism. And you guys started talking, Josh, you brought up about the working punches that he said he didn't like with RVD. The 2 things that take me out of the moment in wrestling are probably punches and slamming somebody's head against an announce table. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, I can see where, if it's not done right and there's too much daylight, it could take you out of it. That's why, some guys try to put a little extra mustard on it. But and punches, I was always taught when you go throw a punch, you got to sell it for the person up in the nosebleeds. You got to make it everything larger than life, and throw it like you're throwing a baseball. The people in the front row could see it, but you got to sell it for the people up in the nosebleeds. And when you got people up in the nosebleeds, that's when you're making money. So I never really paid attention to Rob's punches. Me, it was always about he was always doing kicks and stuff like that. But yeah, it's weird.
I don't really remember his punches either, but I think that, it's interesting what you're saying about this, slamming someone's face into the table or doing, I think a lot of what it comes down to is if it's done right, if it's done well, it's not going to take you out of it. Punches are always, Jim Ross is one who, and he's forgotten more about wrestling than I'll ever know, but Jim Ross will talk a lot about how punches, he hates the 10 count in the corner. You punch the guy 10 times and the guy's not bleeding. He doesn't have a bruise. He doesn't have whatever. As Jim, there's no DNA on his face. But although at the Travel Lodge, that's it, but I've only heard stories, but I think punches, I've always looked at it, and this is where I've always believed that the announcers are so important, because the announcers can make or break what you're seeing. They can either validate something that shouldn't be validated, like we've seen with, the announcers not acknowledging in AEW when they didn't really acknowledge the fact that there was a flub with the explosion at the most recent pay-per-view. And they kind of kept selling it as though, it had happened. And look, it's easy for me to sit back and go, they should have done this, should have done that. In the moment, who knows what they're thinking. But I think sometimes with a punch, I've always hated if somebody clearly misses and an announcer goes, oh man, they got all of that there. So what are you doing? But I've always liked when an announcer can take it and go, those punches there, that's 10 punches. But of course, he's doing the legal open hand punch. That's more of a palm strike there. You're not going to see as much bruising, but trust me, that still stings. There are ways for things to be described that can make it work. Also, a really good punch, can make you forget, because the punch looks so good. It can make you forget that they're not bruised or bleeding. But I don't know. I don't know if I even answered anything or just said a bunch of crap.
Or a good announcer could go, if if something barely misses, oh, that was a glancing blow. So and so out of the way just in time.
Yes, exactly.
Or a good director can go, hey, let's not get this angle while they're doing that spot. Let's work it from behind so you don't see the guy, shit like that. So, like last night, everybody's talking about Jericho falling off the cage. If it had been shot a different way where he kind of fell out of frame, leave a little bit more to the imagination and be like, folks, we can't show this on TV. It's too graphic.
But I will say, and I agree completely. I will say this though about that. There was this one shot when I was watching it, they showed the shot that was like, all right, come on, we know exactly what's going to happen with Jericho here. And then of course they showed, you could see the crash pad and whatnot. And I just before I came on here recorded it's for the youtube.com/mind of the meanie, not an ad, but I do a show called Talking with Friends where I did mention a fall that I had done once upon a time. And we actually had something that looked much better than what AEW had, but it was still like a breakaway. You don't want things to look fake because that takes people right out of it. But what I will say is I did at one of these AEW pay-per-views, I had an opportunity to be in the production truck one time, and I'd never been in a production truck before. It was incredible. Like the way that the director was calling this shot, and calling it live, I couldn't even process what I was watching as quickly as he was calling these different. It was, if you ever get an opportunity to be in a production truck for a live show like that, jump at it because it was mind blowing. And I look at that and after seeing something like that as a fan I'd never seen before, it made me look at it and go, all right, you cut to a wide shot that maybe you shouldn't have cut to, but holy crap, they're doing that so fast. Like I didn't even realize, I couldn't even keep track how many cameras there were, let alone what was going where. So, I guess you can look at it and be more forgiving, but yeah, like to Meanie's point, they should have, people complain, oh, we don't want to see it. We don't want to see it. And that's a lot. I think what you're saying is the punches or slamming someone's head into a table, anything that makes you look like, all right, we know that wasn't real, or this would have been a certain way. I understand that. And that's kind of the stuff that takes us out of it when the angle is wrong too.
Well, it's very little for me. I mean, listen, Raw's 3 hours a week. SmackDown's 2 hours a week. There's show after show after show. AEW's 2 hours a week. It can't all be perfect all the time. And there's things you're going to like and there's things you're not going to like. It's just like a Saturday Night Live. I mean, I like 2 skits out of the whole thing, but I still like Saturday Night Live. And I like it even more 5 years later. So I don't ever insult the product, but I was just saying that if anything ever brought me out of it, it was sometimes those punches and sometimes just slamming now against the announce table. But anyway, I really appreciate
against the announce table. Is that what is it that takes you out of that? The fact
because
that
you can clearly see that their head isn't hitting it. Clearly, it's their hands.
So again, that could be camera angle or the person not doing a good job.
Yeah, it could be.
I think that's all. I think that's all. Pretty much all production, though, because the boys shouldn't be trying to kill each other.
No,
with the punches, play to your strengths, and if you don't have a good working punch, then maybe you shouldn't be throwing a lot of punches. With the daylight on the table, 9 times out of 10, if you've got 4 cameras and a crane or whatever your setup is, you should be able to switch efficiently enough that it doesn't look like it's violating somebody's suspension of disbelief. A lot of people get taken out of it when they see chair shots to the back, especially if they were big time ECW fans, because why is every chair shot, why are no chair shots going to the head? Well, it's obvious why no chair shots are going to the head, but when you do a lot of chair shots to the back, for some people, it's kind of like, I don't know, like, and that, different stuff takes different people out of it. With us in ECW, it was easy. No chair shots to the back. It was chair shots to the head and Singapore cane to the back. Cane to the back, chair shot to the head. It was almost like you teach like a young Polish boy how to put on their underwear. Yellow in the front, brown in the back. That's how it was. It was like a chair shot goes to the head and a Singapore cane goes to, and it wasn't a kendo stick, it was a Singapore cane. A Singapore cane goes to the back. And that's how it was. And it was uphill both ways. And there was no internet for 40%.
Right.
And we liked it.
My underwear.
Yeah, there wasn't 2 million Meltzers out there every day, right?
Yeah. Screen grabbing,
retweeting,
the whole nine
You
yards.
know what? God damn it. If you wanted to have the professional wrestling match of that particular calendar year, you went out that night, you got 4.5 or 4 3/4 stars. You waited to rip the staple out of the paper sheet that came in the mail, and you liked it.
Agreed. Well, thanks so much, guys. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Nene.
No, I always gigged my finger on the staple.
Anyway, guys, thanks for answering my question. I really enjoyed the podcast. Have a good, keep it up. All right.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Brad. Good question.
Can I ask a quick question to Amy?
Yeah.
Is that sign left over, or are you actually, does that say that you're here for your birthday?
Amy Vaughn, where are you? Hello?
I can't hear you, but is it your birthday? No?
Okay.
All right. Then you don't need to unmute yourself.
Oh.
It's not your birthday.
And so Amy appears.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So hold on, I'm gonna tell about your sign. This sign is my son's. We took it to a WWE event.
Oh.
And it's signed by like Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns, Sasha Banks,
nice.
Bailey. Who else is on there?
Roman Shield.
Jason Jordan. There were several.
Oh, very cool. I thought maybe you were like, that was your way of letting us know, hey, I'm spending my birthday with morons on this.
I could be watching Dark Side of the Ring, but I'm here for my birthday.
Right.
Brad was like, Dark Side of the Ring. He just got the hell out of here.
Yeah, going.
So that's kind of like I got it laminated and everything, and
that's really cool. That's
you're really
awesome.
cool, Josh.
Hey, you know what, Joel? You're really cool.
That is real cool. I learned it from watching Meanie.
Let's throw it to who's really cool.
Side of the ring.
This is a great transition to who is cool. That's Michael McClanahan. You have a question for the guys.
Where are we at?
Good evening, guys. First, thank you for taking the time to answer my question. I thought the Rob Van Dam episode was excellent, but I want to focus in on something I believe it was Joel said, and it's kind of a more abstract question in general, but it goes along with what we've been talking about. And he mentioned that Rob Van Dam was really the first tweener in wrestling. So what, in your opinion, is the role of the tweener in wrestling? And do you think today it's a little bit overused in the sense that we've heard promotions like AEW say that they almost think baby faces and heels are sometimes considered to be a thing of the past, and it's more kind of a world of shades of gray? But I just wanted your opinion on kind of that statement and what role you think Rob Van Dam played in kind of making the tweener what some would consider to be a staple character in wrestling. And that question goes out to all three of you. Again, I thought the podcast was excellent. I look forward to it every month.
Thank you so much.
If you gave me $3 billion, I would turn around and forget professional wrestling ever existed. But if you gave me $1 billion, I would start a promotion, and it would only include tweeners. Everybody would be 50 Shades of Gray. It would be full of Finn Balor, Karrion Kross, RVD, Jake Roberts, Roddy Piper, Taz, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Dr. D. David Schultz, and all of them would live begrudgingly amongst each other, miserably thrilled ever after, and they would all love each other, and they would all hate each other, and they would all go out there, and it would be sort of like MMA, but a work, maybe kind of like what wrestling used to be 100 years ago. I think it would be really, really interesting. And I think that's something that no promotion has yet tried, is to just completely do away with Hulk Hogan, Captain America, and every other babyface, and Iron Sheik, and every other heel, and just not have people be people where you've got Freddie Joe Floyd and the Goon and TL Hopper and this guy Garbage Man and this guy Bus Driver, but have a whole bunch of strong, charismatic, promo cutting tweeners. I think that would be a really, really great experiment for the wrestling industry to have.
Now, if you had trouble, say, with like the ring and you needed to buy some time and keep the audience entertained, what's something
I would have?
promotion?
So here's if that ever happened, and again, with $1 billion, it probably shouldn't. But if something like that, if there were to be a glitch and something went awry, you would have, for example, a Kimona Wanalea type, and she would be neither unlikable nor completely likable. And she would be dancing atop the venue.
I love you.
Almost organically, like an exhibitionist, like she doesn't even care that she's doing it for the money. And then 3 seconds later, after a flip turn, you can see the look in her face that the money is the only reason she's dancing. She would be a complete puzzle and enigma.
She would say, I, Kimona Wanalea.
Exactly.
So now we want to start a GoFundMe to get Joel his own wrestling organization after that.
But keep in mind, the target for the GoFundMe is $1 billion. And keep in mind, if it gets near $1 billion, and then the next person throws $2 billion in, and it goes to $3 billion, I promise you, I'm on an island and pretend I'm dead. But if it's $1 billion, I will give it the old college try, and I will put my best fucking foot forward.
If it's at 1.5 billion, are you putting your coat on, contemplating leaving?
If it's at 1.5 billion, I'm approaching Conrad with this game show idea where I'm this crazy Brewster's Billions benefactor of professional wrestling. And you'll wind up seeing people show up at Dave Milliken's house because there's a scavenger hunt going on and they've got to steal the NWA national title. And like, it would be, I'm believe me, when it comes to amusing myself, I'm heartless. I just have no soul. So with 1.5 billion, I would be supremely dangerous.
Just please promise me you'll keep taking pictures of your wings and your pizza and your cheeseburgers.
Of course.
Okay, good.
Onward and upward. More of them.
That's right. All right. Josh Odom, the man who says Shernoff put over at the beginning of this for helping do some research for this show. Josh has a question.
Well, actually, I have an apology because your research guy shit the bed on the Sabu Dudley's thing where Devon won the title from Rob Van Dam in a single because he didn't provide the context on there. So I apologize to everybody. That was my fault.
Shitting the bed is a corporate morale builder around these parts.
So what happened there?
Sabu was hurt. He messed up his mouth. I think it was after the FTW match he had with Taz at the end of March.
They broke his jaw.
So he's nursing that injury. Yeah, they were running an angle because he was legitimately hurt that the athletic commissions wouldn't clear him. So he was just doing running. So he was on the show. He did a running on there, but it was defended in singles and Devon won.
Look at the green screen. Look at the image this guy's got on his green screen.
Oh, he's replaced.
But even my character silhouette looks like Conrad.
Oh man.
I love that you helped me by doing the research and now have replaced me in the with the background there. Your face is just in front of my face.
So I'm just happy that you read all that Meltzer stuff, and I know it was painful for you.
Yeah, but you know what? I really do appreciate. All kidding aside, Josh really stepped up and helped out a lot with that research. It was great because I don't subscribe to Meltzer to his to any of his crap. So I don't subscribe to it, but realistically, Meltzer is as we said before, he's a historian. So even though he may have peppered it with a lot of negative opinion, we did get the history of some of these events and what had taken place, and we wouldn't have had that without Meltzer and without Mr. Josh Odom hooking us up with that. So thank you very much.
Josh Odom.
You're welcome.
He's the low key, I know he wanted to say that. He's the low key MVP of a lot of the stuff we do here. He does post production for AFS and 30. He does post for Mailbag with Mike Chioda. He's helping you guys with your show. He's converting the JR tapes. He has all those in his possession.
Oh man, just sell them.
Man. Over on a computer next to me as we speak.
Oh wow.
All right, Josh.
That's awesome though.
Yeah. Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you again though.
Yeah, sometimes guys like Josh don't get their just due, but man, without them, none of this would work. So really appreciate him.
If I had to do a Gertnerism for Josh Odom, I wouldn't even rhyme it with scrotum. I'd intentionally come up with something else to say because he's that valued. Josh, can I ask you a question? Who drew my caricature? Andy Slichter?
Yes.
I don't know.
I swear it looks like a Muppet version of Conrad cosplaying as Elvis.
I love it. It was fantastic.
If Conrad was French.
He does, because he has a little proof to them.
Yeah.
That's the Corona speaking. I'm sorry. That one didn't land. So.
That's all right.
Here, Meanie, you all right?
What's wow.
Okay. Put him and scrotum. That will forever stick with me. Antonio Santos, you're up next.
Gentlemen, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, good.
Like they say in Philly, fair to Midland.
Well, I'm going to let out my inner Gertner since you're my role model now. I have a sidetrack question. Fuck, marry, kill. Kimona. Topanga, Lauren Yaffe.
Oh my God.
Oh no. Hey, Kimona. Is she the one who danced atop the ECW arena?
I've not heard that.
You know what? How about this? I would kill Kimona, and I'll tell you why. Because she'd pop right back to life. She's unkillable. She's immortal. Because every fucking week we heard about her dancing atop of it. So automatically, I don't want to kill any of them. But when there's one that we know will live forever regardless, it would be Kimona. So now we've got what, Topanga and Lauren, and I have to love one and marry the other?
You don't have to, I don't know how you do it, but you don't have to love.
You just have to.
No, I know what it is. I know what it is. I'm trying to limit. I'm trying to, it's,
Yeah.
You know, listen, man, an ad is a plug, and a plug is a 4-letter word. And if this is an ad-free show, it's got to be a 4-letter. You know what I mean? Like, I've already said fuck like 5 or 6 times. I could say it 7 or 8, but what's the difference, right? Let me ask you a question. We're not, God forbid we should plug Manscaped and suggest that people buy one of these Chella Toys figures. But can we say fuck 5 or 6 times and not have a problem?
I've not been told that we can't curse on this. So.
It's not fuck free shows last time I checked. So
have you watched? Have you listened to what happened?
Josh,
I mean, all the time.
Get Slichter to do a T-shirt. Fuck free shows.
Slichter, are you here? Sometimes he just hangs out in the background.
I have a feeling there's a lot of people that could sport a fuck free shows shirt.
All right. I'm writing it down. So
as for Lauren and Topanga, with the other 2 options,
wasn't she dating Sean Hunter? Wasn't there actually like a Lauren? So it was like Lauren and Topanga.
Look, when you marry somebody, I believe it's inferred that you're going to be having sexual relations with them.
I'm married and can inform you that is not necessarily always the case.
So one might think that the quintessential stud muffin in gimmick would say, well, let's fuck Topanga because she might not be as accessible, and let's marry them. But I'll tell you what, Topanga gets put over left and right, and that's not going to stop. She's been my crush for decades. I'm going to flip the shoe onto the other foot, and I'm going to say I would marry Topanga And I, just for the sake, because there are only 3 options and 3 women, I would say I guess I'd have to fuck Lauren.
Okay.
Respectfully.
That'll be the
respectful. Yeah, right. Yeah.
That'll be the 10-second clip we grab for social media. I can't wait. All right, Andrew Hermes, rein us back in, buddy. You're up next.
Paulie.
Yes.
You let this show get off the fucking rails, haven't you?
You're blaming me.
honestly, and I mean it in the most complimentary way with Lauren, because what am I supposed to do? Say that I would fuck Kimona? She's too busy dancing atop the fucking ECW arena.
Don't worry about Lauren's feelings. She's going to eat that up. So she'll be all right.
Wow. Good for you, Joel.
Joel would eat more than that.
There's a line for Lauren. I'll tell you that right now. Half of them are on this chat. All right, here we go.
Oh my.
Here we go. So guys, I really enjoyed the show, of course, big RVD fan. And if I could share an anecdote with everybody on the call, I was at StarCast 2 in his line, and there was a guy with some medical problems, have no idea what it was. And RVD took the time to go spend 5 or 10 minutes with the guy in a very, very classy move. And it's not something I think that he...
Andrew, you muted yourself, buddy.
Okay. Anyway, am I back? All right. So anyway, RVD was helping. He was very nice to this man who had some sort of medical issues in Las Vegas. Nothing that I've ever actually heard about, like he do the Make-A-Wish stuff, but very nice, very cordial. And I don't know if many people know that about him, that he does that, takes that sort of time out of his meet and greet. I mean, he's being paid to be there to sign autographs, and he stopped the entire line, which was back the table, out the door, and made time for this specific person. So really speaks to what kind of guy he was. And in your show, you talked about how cool, how mellow, all of that stuff he is. But obviously, there is that really, I don't know how to say it, but caring side of Rob Van Dam, despite the I don't give a fuck, I'm cool attitude that he has on television and in the locker room.
Rob's a stand-up guy. Rob is a really good dude.
He's great. He's great.
So I was really impressed with it. I just, like I said, I thought I'd share that because I don't know how many people have seen that side of him. But I do have 2 questions. The first is on the working punch and, of course, the Meltzer lines, whatever. Wasn't it said on one of our podcasts that someone said one time, who you working? They said RVD. And he said, well, you better get your fucking hands up. I mean, did RVD have a reputation for not throwing a good punch or kick?
I don't know. I never heard that, The only person, there was the running joke that, Sabu apologized every 3rd punch, Sorry. Sorry. I never really heard anything about Rob. I mean, you knew he dealt it out, but he also expected it back, come back with a fat lip or whatever. And, he's a stud. I never really heard complaints. The only time I ever heard a complaint in the locker room is when Sandman was getting a little too crazy with the cane shots, when Shane Douglas and a few other guys spoke up about his cane shots. But when it comes to Rob, I never really heard anybody complain about him.
Gotcha. And like I said, I only wondered because they made it sound like he wasn't throwing a good punch. And then you hear this story about how he was stiff, snug, careless, reckless, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I don't know. There's always that rumor that, he went into WWE and everybody thought he was reckless. But if you ask the guys he worked with, they're like, nah, he was fine.
Yeah, I think he was really snug. Like I remember his matches with Jerry Lynn, they were both always coming back busted up in some way, but they both were. And I think it was just, you don't know how much of it is just rumor from wrestling fans seeing that he opened somebody up. And then they say, well, he's probably really pissed off and he's probably getting in trouble in the locker room because he's stiff or what, looking at it from, and I never worked him, but looking at it from an outsider, it just seemed like he was snug. You know, he laid it in, but like Meanie said, like he expected it back. And I mean, God, that's ECW was, you know, from what I understand, ECW wasn't known as that place where we kind of just, you know, went easy on each other, you know, like it was expected.
Yeah. Everybody in ECW that I work with was, you know, either mildly light or slightly snug, where you felt it, but it wasn't like, oh, Jesus, you know, like son of a, you know, do I owe you money? What the fuck? Yeah, like I said, the only time there was really a complaint was, you know, Sandman's cane shots, and you know, we would fight to try to get to his cane to cut the strings off it so it would loosen up. But when it came to Rob, he was good. He was good.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Joel, did you want to add anything? I didn't know if you did or not. Make you feel left out.
I mean, you know, we're talking about Meltzer, a guy who, if there was never a Meltzer, there would never be a Meltzer driver or a best Meltzer ever. But if we're talking about Meltzer, I think he did not prefer the punching, you know, the hand striking style of Rob Van Dam. I don't think it was really a problem in ECW. It wasn't one. I don't think it was a problem anywhere. In WWE, they definitely emphasized his educated feet and what he could do with his kicks and all of his, you know, his strengths, you know, his core strength, his leg strength. I mean, his strengths, which, you know, his punch was never intended to be. He was never in ECW nor in WWF presented as Mike Tyson or Stone Cold or Goldberg. He just wasn't. He was RVD, and he could do the Van Daminator and the Van Terminator and all the things that he could do. And so it doesn't, I'm not so concerned with, you know, his punches. I think the person who liked them least or disliked them most seems to be Dave Meltzer.
And let me add something, just like, his punches might not have looked pretty, but when you're as over as Rob was, the fans are awfully forgiving. So there's plenty of times I would do things in the ring, and, you know, some things I would, you know, they would call a botch today, but my character was over in a way that, you know, people thought, oh, that's just Meanie, he meant to do that or whatever. But, you know, Rob was so over that he could throw me a punch that some people might shit on, but it didn't matter. He was over. So when you're over, you get away with doing a little bit, do things that most people couldn't get away with.
Hey, what type of punches did Meltzer used to throw when he was working?
If the absolute worst thing in RVD's repertoire, like if everything he does is a 10 and a 9.5, and the one category out of 100 where he's a 7.5 is his punches, well, I sure hope it doesn't keep him out of the Hall of Fame.
No, he's in. He's in.
Well, we meant the Meltzer Hall of Fame, which will never be built. But
nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Yeah. You can make it macrame a Hall of Fame out of old Observer episodes or whatever the fuck they're called.
I think he calls them the floor.
The floor.
Because I can't get over
it's not floor. The floor is lava. The floor is Observer.
Yeah.
You have to jump from chair to chair, not to step on the Observer.
Oh man.
You know, you hear the argument made online, like on Twitter, on social media, you hear everybody saying the WWE Hall of Fame exists only in the mind of Vince McMahon. And you know, you might hear people say that the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame perhaps only exists in the mind of Dave Meltzer. But if you delve Hello?
Yep.
If you delve into the mind of the Meanie, you can have something tangible and physical, and that is an action figure of Blue Meanie and Josh Shernoff, available from Cella Toys. If ads were allowed on this show, I would put those over right now.
Well, I mean, I would love to thank you, but of course it's not an ad, so you're going to stop right there.
It was a hypothetical situation.
Really, we fuck free ads, so.
Hey, I'm getting slicker on that. I wrote it down already.
He'll have it made by the time we log off.
Yeah. And then personally, Tease will take 6 months to put it on.
Like the ad-free shows logo, and then you put like, you know, a no, like a red circle with a slash over ad, and you have like 2 stick figure people fucking, and it says fuck. It's like the guy and then fuck and then the girl, and that replaces ad in ad-free shows, so it becomes fuck-free shows.
What kind of fuck are we talking about? Is it like butt stuff, or is it just?
Oh boy.
Okay, Andrew. Anything else on the butt stuff?
Not tonight, but you know,
okay.
DM me later. I did have another question though, because you, and it's a good segue, Meanie, because you and Joel, you too, you said that fans are forgiving, and we are. No, definitely not.
Okay.
But
shower.
Oh, that popped me. Anyway, with RVD, yeah, he's the most over guy in ECW. Kimona Wanalea is the most over woman in ECW, but that's a different story.
At least that one night.
I saw Kimona Wanalea dance at Moon Dancers in Cherry Hill. So
she's the most over. I got you.
Yeah.
So RVD, you guys called him the most over. He was so over. But he never won the world title in ECW, and we had to wait till WWE and their incarnation of the brand. Does it matter?
No. When he got there, he held didn't he hold the their ECW belt and the WWE belt at the same time?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and now he's in the Hall of Fame. No. I don't think stuff like that matters at all. I think, you know, the TV title was our Intercontinental title. Like I think we might have said on the show, it was our working belt.
Yeah.
And I don't think he needed the top belt at all. I think, I think Rob's at that Alexander the Great level where he's just done it all. He's just kind of been to the mountaintop. I don't think he's missing anything.
And point out Antonio. Just want to point out Antonio's choice of background.
Oh yeah. What's he got?
Oh my God.
I'm not reading it.
Andrew, did you have anything else to finish your final thought there? I want to make sure you're good.
Sorry.
No, I was good. No, I was just wondering because it's counterintuitive that you put the most over person, you put the belt on them. Typically in professional wrestling, they put the belt on Stone Cold. They put the belt on The Rock. They got the belt on Kenny Omega right now. They've had the belt on Jericho. They never put the belt on RVD and ECW. So that was the genesis of the question.
But that could also speak to the rest of the roster and how strong it was, right? Because if you've got this guy who's so incredibly over just with the TV title, and you've got the opportunity to have these other people who are really over, and then you've got them in a world title picture, well, then maybe the mindset is we don't need. Yeah, Joe?
My eye just caught somebody saying it in the chat, and I was thinking it, and then I looked down and I saw somebody say what I was thinking. He had that TV belt. He was defending it week after week, show after show, for something on the order of like a year and 9 months. So, you know, it's kind of tough to.
Yeah, straight.
Yeah. So, I mean, no, I think he's all set. I think he's all gold, silver, and bronze medaled up.
I think you said it best, Blue Meanie. He was the heartbreak kid. He was the Shawn Michaels of ECW.
He was our Shawn Michaels, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, good stuff. Michael Amend, you're on with the guys.
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
What's up, buddy?
Hey.
What? I just wanted to say, not an ad, but, you know, manscaped.com with the promo code Mind of the Meanie has really
look at this guy. Like, look at this
my
guy,
life.
though. He's wearing an ad-free shows T-shirt, and he's talking about all the things that change his life, coming so dangerously close to being an ad, and doing his best and not be. That's the thing.
Now, are we talking about promo code Meanie20?
Yes.
Promo code Meanie20. Well, hey, we really thank you. We appreciate that.
And also, the rumor and innuendo is that the ball deodorant prevents being exposed to meanie farts.
Which ball deodorant is it?
Man, I don't know.
Manscaped.
I don't know that that's going to save
Let me ask you a
balls.
question. That Manscaped stuff, between us, is it good? Like, does it work?
Oh, yeah.
It does work.
Yes. It's fantastic.
Let's stop there because they'll have to throw us behind the paywall for the future. But, like,
Do you need proof? Do you need to?
No.
What are we doing here?
Maybe
they
on,
also come with this
Top
great
3
newspaper. Okay, that you can just
Exactly.
lay down.
Did you get that off of Meltzer's floor?
Rubbing knees and balls across the sheets on the floor.
I tried wearing underwear that had the charcoal filter, the block out farts, and I gave 10 people the black lung.
Oh man.
I also wanted
myself.
to say, not an ad, but my action figures from Cello Toys will be here on Saturday. The 2-pack.
Sweet.
Yes, very excited about that. Appreciate you guys.
We're very.
We appreciate you using our promo
That's cool
code.
that you
getting
ordered
our
those.
figures.
Let me ask you a question, being completely honest, right? And not to phrase it in any way where it would be like advertorial or like where you'd be enticing somebody to buy them. Let me ask you a question though. Shoot from the hip. If they were $5 more than they are, would you have still bought them?
Yes.
All right, that's it. But anything beyond that's an ad, so we got to cut that off.
Yours came with figures. Mine it's an empty case.
Oh.
That's kidding.
I
let him breathe.
Oh,
like Manscaped.
The Lucy. Who's Lucy?
Anything
serious
else,
question.
Linus.
Yes. Serious
like
question.
me and Sister Lucy. Wait a minute. SD Jones will sing in Land of 1,000 Dances about me and Sister Lucy.
Dude,
Like
wait, what
me
does
and
he
Sister
say?
Lucy.
Wait a minute. What is he actually saying? I have wondered that my entire life. I'm not even kidding.
Okay, look, and I'm not trying to be anything other than I'm not trying to be like, an 80s phobe. But like, I think it's, you got to do the Watusi, I think. And then I'm pretty sure, and I don't know if this is the original lyric from the song in the 60s or not, but I'm pretty sure SD comes in with, like me and Sister Lucy.
Okay.
How about this? Josh Odom, our ombudsman, our provost, jump onto, and you can't look at the original song from the 60s. You got to look at the wrestling album, Land of 1,000 Dances. And what does SD Jones say that sounds like me and Sister Lucy that I am now hoping against all hope is actually that, and that I'm not making fun of a dead wrestler on an 80s song from a...
Oh man. Hey, I want to say in the comments, we're getting a whole lot of people saying they want a fuck free shows.
Yeah.
I hope
Of course they do.
Hope Conrad won't mind, but we're gonna do that.
And I want you guys each to get a third of the, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter who came up with the idea. None of that matters. We're one big happy family.
The important thing is that Slichter makes it and we don't give him any money.
There you go. No,
There we go.
why Slichter?
James Sorensen.
Poor Paul. This is why Paul is so respected by Conrad.
No.
Conrad was like, I don't know. I don't know if Paul's got what it takes. And then he's like, hey, let me check out one of these times when he hosts the Zoom meeting for That Was Extreme. And he's like, yep, no, this guy's got it.
This is how
somebody wants two fuck free shows for their kids. So now we have to come up with a fun. So now we have to do fun free shows so that it's family friendly. We have to kick out the ad and we have to replace it with the same stick figures fucking, but with balloons in their hand so that it can say fun free shows.
Or sitting on a teeter-totter. There you go. Oh my God.
What are we looking at?
This is James Sorensen. He's
James
going
Sorensen.
wild with his phone. He's up next, and here he is. I see him. He's got a beverage in his hand. His hair's wild. What do you got, James?
Look, we're all giving James Roadhead at this moment with that camera angle.
Well, thanks for showing up to the happy hour with your beverage, with your hair. You look like something the cat dragged
like
in
a
and was too
Muppet.
afraid to drag back out.
He's a Muppet. Go ahead, James.
It isn't ugly.
That's an ugly drink right there. Tell him Mind of the Meanie sent you.
This guy looks like he hasn't brushed his hair since Bush's daddy was in office.
Oh man.
Given the fact I'm 23, probably.
Oh. So what's on your
That
mind?
made
I
us
can't
all
wait
feel
to hear. I can't wait to hear the genius James Sorensen has for us tonight. What do you got, buddy?
Well, I'll wait on my can that I can send to Vanessa.
Yes. James, so little inside baseball, Mind of the Meanie. We have we like to drink seltzer a lot. And I had a can of seltzer that did not have any what's it called?
Seltzer.
Seltzer. Well, yeah, there was a seltzer. Yeah, it was. We just cracked it open,
and it was
there's nothing. There's nothing at all. And I said, hey, well, we'll give this to. Maybe we should sign this, and you guys can, our Patreon members can, bid on it for charity. And James Sorensen won, and he snuck in at the last minute, beating out Vanessa Bello, and decided he's gonna send it to her anyway, and but send his money over to a great charity, and we're matching his donation. So yeah, every once in a while we take a break from farting and give money to great causes. So yeah, that's on its way to you.
Josh.
Yeah.
Slichter just texted me.
Did he really?
Yeah. Tell him he shouldn't do a Meltzer free seltzer t-shirt. Tell him that would be the worst idea in the world.
We do have I'm a can man.
There you go. If there are 15 people watching this right now, I guarantee you 3 of them won't buy a Meltzer free seltzer, no matter how clever the visual is.
I'd buy it. I mean, I bought some Manscaped from.
You bought what?
Manscaped.
My audio ducked out for a second.
Manscaped.
Using
Manscaped? That's what I thought he said, but I had to. My audio was dipping a little bit. I'm on one ear. Manscaped. Yeah, they're pretty cool, man. I heard they work.
Is it tomorrow yet?
I don't think they that works for your head though, right, James? You can't do your hair. Go ahead. Do you have a question?
Hey, so given today's environment, who would you say resembles a Rob Van Dam currently, like a current superstar?
I mean, WWE obviously thinks Matt Riddle. I'm sorry, Riddle. And they obviously they both enjoy the marijuana, and they've had some fun with that on their television, on their PG show.
Well, just because the guy rides around on a scooter.
It's legal now.
We don't.
Yeah.
We
don't get me wrong. I'm all for it, but
talks about the munchies and stuff doesn't mean he's necessarily.
Yeah.
We have Joel Gertner for 7 more minutes. Can we roll through 3 quick questions? 7 minutes.
I love how we say to Paul, like, hey, we got a hard out at this point, Paul, so we got to keep things moving here tonight. And then it's just
poor guy. Hey, I love it. This is fantastic. I want to host this every single month.
Well, you have to now, because after Gertner answered that question about Lauren, it's just awkward.
Yeah, it'd be weird. I mean,
I feel like I should. I mean, should I? I didn't mean anything bad by it.
You're fine. She has a great personality. Yeah,
Lauren, why? Why? Because we love you. You know,
this is
not necessarily in that way. You know.
Oh dear. James, go ahead.
Not I don't know.
This has been good for the last couple months.
What?
All right.
That game has been great.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, we have Josh Rosenbaum, who's up next with a question. Coach, you're up. Coach Rosie.
Where are we at?
Yeah, I feel like I'm in rare form tonight, Paulie. So, can you guys hear me?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
What's up, Dr. Rosenpeanut?
Hey, if you can hear me. Hey.
What?
Here's my question for you.
Hardwire.
Listen, I'm a connoisseur of if you can't hear me, I hope you can, but if Will Chamberlain had 20
going to take your head off. Don't stand up too quick.
It's good to see that the audio guy from Barely Legal is getting work.
If Will Chamberlain man, I appreciate that. It's good to see. Hey, it's good to see you getting work, Joe Gertner. It's been a while. But besides that,
I hope you're not being
RVD
Hibbity.
I love you.
This is like reading a tweet from Coach at this point. Go ahead, Coach.
God damn, let me speak.
This is like reading one of your tweets.
I want to know a story.
Reading. Go ahead.
Get better footage on the moon. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, listen.
Oh, go ahead,
pissing me off. I'm gonna get through this question.
One small chat for
Give me a good story of Rob. Listen, I love you guys, but I'm out.
Oh, he just left. Oh, he
I was
bailed.
just about to ask him who does your Wi-Fi, 2 cans and a string, and he
Yes. We just all went heel. Oh, that was fun.
Oh man.
Why not Fi? He had why not Fi.
We're getting blasted on Twitter. I'm telling you that right now. So
come to my Twitter at StudMuffinSays within the next half hour or so, and you will find out what SD Jones says in Land of a Thousand Dances on the wrestling album.
Tonight on the hotline.
Oh, can't believe it. Man. I happen to have it on good authority that.
Listen, we're just trying to have some fun here, Coach. We saw we lost you. We could barely hear you, so apologize for that.
In our defense, we could barely hear you, and who knows? You could have been about to bust into an ad for Manscaped or whatever, or almost do one, and we would have missed hearing the almost ad.
It's like the guy who does pay-per-view recaps was doing his Wi-Fi where they pause it right before the thing hits. Oh no, there's the chair.
We have 2 guys left. Are you good with time, Joel?
Yeah.
All right. Josh Odom back one more time. You did a lot of work for the show. We'll give it to you. Go ahead.
Sure.
Are you telling me I just watched Land of a Thousand Dances for nothing?
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I've got it up on the other screen there. I was YouTubing. You told me to look for something. I was in research mode. Anyway,
what'd you come up with?
I got to decipher there. I'm going to have to go back and listen to it again. I'll just wait for Joel to tell me. Anyways, you're talking about Hall of Fames and stuff there. I want to know if the 3-pack is going to be a Hall of Fame edition.
The 3-pack?
Yeah.
Of you
the 3-pack, you, Joel, and the
Cello Toys
upcoming. If it is released, will it be a Hall of Fame edition? Yeah, Cello Toys.
So
that was extreme.
If I had to guess, I would say they discovered that shipping 2-packs were somewhat more complicated than shipping a single figure. And the idea of shipping a 3-pack may be nerve-wracking for Cello Toys. But hopefully we're going to see many more. I mean, Meanie's got so many great looks, and Joel definitely needs to. Joel's showing off his vinyl.
Nice.
That's fantastic, actually.
Joel, talk so it'll come to you. I can see you on the camera.
If I put my finger on it enough, if I finger it the right way, I just wonder if, you know what I mean? Because I don't have a phonograph anymore. So if I just put my finger, because in a vinyl, you got you can finger the vinyl in the middle and in the hole. You got it. That's the hole right there. If you stick your finger in the hole just the right way and finesse it, you can hear like SD Jones speaking backwards or whatever. But because I don't have a phonograph anymore. I remember they asked Alf one time. You remember Alf?
Yeah.
They asked him what he thought of pornography. He said, I don't own a pornograph. So I don't have a phonograph anymore to play this vinyl, but that's what we've got Josh Odom for.
Well, one more quick thing in regards to RVD and not getting the world title. I think that a lot of people forgot his 700-day reign came after he broke his ankle in January, came back in May, and then he was out for months because he was owed money. So there really wasn't an opportunity for him to have a world title run before ECW.
I don't understand why that caricature, the silhouette, I don't understand why it looks like Paul Prudhomme dressed like me for Halloween cosplaying Conrad. Like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Go back and watch the first episode of That Was Extreme. You had a whole lot of beard going on in that episode.
Okay.
And that is what he based the drawing off of, I believe.
Okay.
So
well, what a one-trick pony I must be. I mean, I like to look different every month that we're together, but considering that it is like 30 and a quarter days, right? I figure maybe it would be nice to not look like I just fucking took 2 showers in that time and happened not to get any water on my body. Maybe I should look a little bit different. You know what I mean? Not like I'm trying to get work or anything.
Josh, were you done? I feel like you're on mute. You're dying of laughter. You're good?
He's giving everything he can to this show.
Good. Last question, Antonio, because we got to get these guys out of here. Antonio, you're up.
Well, since Josh kind of answered my question about RVD, I got a quick hypothetical. New Jack versus Nick Gage.
New Jack versus Nick Gage. Good God.
Yeah. Who will come out of that alive?
No one. Maybe a fan.
I almost want to say that match happened, though. I don't know why.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even being funny. The precursor to GCW. I could be wrong. There was yeah.
Oh,
you know what?
5 points to Josh Odom for the Spermies reference down in the chat. He's so out of control.
He is. He's like that guy that you would never picture with this stuff.
I like how Odom is just kind of like sitting there, kind of like no big deal. Like I'm just hanging out, just seeing what's going on. And meanwhile, it's just like winner gets a box of Spermies. You're just typing away with the one hand, the other hand's up, stroking the beard.
Guys, listen, that's all our questions tonight. This is normally where I ask you to plug your shit.
Were we recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
I'm typing with my feet.
So this is where I normally ask you to hit your plugs. Joe, we haven't heard anything about you, the eargasm, all the good stuff. How can we help you out?
Sorensen wanted to know when another buddy is coming. Let me know what that's all about. Eargasm, yes, Eargasm with Devon Dudley, and the Eargasm that comes out tomorrow is going to be with Big Vito, and you can listen to that on 69 Minute Eargasm, Apple, Spotify, all of the places that you get podcasts that we cannot put over because it's ad-free shows. What else? Twitter, Stud Muffin says, I will have as many lyrics as I can jam in to 280 characters or whatever it is I'm allowed. So if you've always wanted to live vicariously and hear Land of a Thousand Dances by the WWF wrestlers of the 1980s without audio, that's coming your way. Instagram, Quintessential Stud Muffin, you'll see all the food that Paulie Bromwell himself drools over.
Love
and
it.
I have broken bread with Paulie Bromwell,
That's right.
and the man knows how and what to eat. Cameo for video messages, Pro Wrestling Tees for all of the great Joel Gertner related tees that are not related to That Was Extreme, and anything else we'll throw it in post.
We'll go to Blue Meanie next because I know Shernoff has got a list. So, and he'll be the catch-all. Meanie, what do you have for us?
If you would like to support the Blue Meanie, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie. If you would like a cameo, go to cameo.com/Blue Meanie BWO. And I'm sure Josh has the heavy lifting as far as mine and Meanie goes. So,
Josh, over to you.
Well, every Monday morning, another episode of Mind of the Meanie drops. And we've got 5-star reviews across the board, save for one person that wished that I talked less about my high school friends, which I maybe mentioned once. But it's neither here nor there. Mind of the Meanie, at Mind of the Meanie across all social media platforms. Like I said, every Monday it drops a new episode. I believe we have episode 58 that just dropped. Maybe 58's coming up, 59, something like that. So we've been doing it for over a year. Maybe it's 30 something. I don't know. But it's so much fun. We have a great time over there. We have our own Patreon, patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie. Come hang out with us if you would. And if you look at myself and Meanie, you go, those are a couple guys I'd like to play with if they were 5 inches in plastic. Well, you can go to mindofthemeanie.com and pick up your very own Cella Toys Mind of the Meanie 2-pack. Both the greatest thing and the biggest joke in the history of wrestling is that there is an action figure of me and is referred to as a wrestling megastar. So that's some irony for you. You can go to youtube.com/Mind of the Meanie for a lot of fun videos that we have over there as well. And then there's me at So Says Shernoff across the board on all social media. And all of you here at adfreeshows.com, please enjoy the most recent episode of So Says Shernoff on Fight TV, where my special guest was the great Eric Bischoff. We had a great conversation there. It was a lot of fun. He was absolutely awesome. As I know, all of you know, from being on these ad-free shows, events with him. Yeah, that's it. Did I miss something, Meanie? Oh, ProWrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie, ProWrestlingTees.com/So Says Shernoff, ProWrestlingTees.com/That Was Extreme. Follow us at that Was Extreme on social media, and I don't know. This is all off the top of my head. I don't know.
Can I make a selfish request?
Please.
Wrestling's on 8 days a week, and we know that you had a choice tonight. Thanks for being here. If you had a good time, it doesn't have to be ad-free when it's free on social media, Twitter, and the like. Please feel free to let people know you did. Let people know you would have been here, even if it wasn't a free offering. Give us your equivalent of a 5-star review. We love you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And all kidding aside, thank you so much to Paul.
Yeah, Paul.
It is not easy to steer a ship, and especially one that goes completely off. I guess ships don't go off the rails, but you know what I mean. You're doing an amazing job, and it's awesome to be able to have you hosting these.
Hey, thank you guys. This is one I did 2 months ago in March, and I'm like, I'm going to do it every single month. And then last month was Easter, something came up. I don't know, but I love this show. I love you guys. I love interacting. I feel like we just have a good time on this, and I don't have to be so prim and proper, and I can be myself a little bit. So I'm digging it, and I want to come back every month. You guys are all highly entertaining, and I just enjoy being around.
We try.
Awesome.
Right.
Also great.
Thank you for the Kimono Wanalea stuff tonight, by the way, too, and for
thank you to Kimono for the Kimono Wanalea stuff.
Yeah. You were talking 5 inches and hard plastic. I didn't know where you were going, Josh.
Yeah.
But I understand it's your action figures. Listen, with that, please make sure
Josh, by the way, tell Slichter though, if he insists one more time up in my DMs about doing a That Was Extreme Warfare Volume 2 shirt, I'm going to lose my mind.
I'm going to make a note specifically about that. That Was Extreme Warfare Volume 2.
On a VHS tape.
Oh, you got to have an image of a VHS tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a bootleg RF video logo, like an FR video logo.
The night we talked about the night Kimono Wanalea.
Yeah, that's the back. The night we talked about the night.
All right.
Man, I'd buy one. Put me down. I want one.
I want one.
Guys, support them on social media. Buy their T-shirts. I bought one today. Blue Meanie, go ahead.
And if you like our show, we'll let the powers to be know.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
He looks a lot like Gertner's picture there in the...
No, Gertner's picture looks as if it's Josh Shernoff with Wilford Brimley behind him screaming diabetes.
Diabetes.
That's what the picture looks like. Hey, listen, I'll take one of those That Was Extreme Warfare Volume 2 shirts. Size XL, kayfabe 2XL.
Yeah, what he said, Josh.
Okay.
You can expect more of these antics on That Was Extreme at the beginning of each and every month. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you give episode 5 a listen. This is Paul Bromwell closing it down, thanking you all for your support. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it.